Hello and welcome to my garden. So this garden is a zone 7A garden. It is in the middle of the city. We're talking like 1/8 of an acre, but it feels like you are in the British countryside, or at least it is going for that effect. So this is a formal garden. There's lots of hedging with evergreens, boxwoods, arborvitae. There's lots of billowy hydrangeas and roses and perennials. It just has that lush feel on a really small plot of land, but you can still get that feel. And so I just want to show you. So come along. In the front garden, I have boxwood hedging. So these winter gem boxwoods, they hedge all of the garden beds up here. Creates a square, and you know, it's 90 degrees, it's right angles, it's formal garden. And so there's winter gem boxwoods all the way around this garden bed. And then this garden bed is backed with Green Mountain boxwoods. So Green Mountain boxwoods are like kind of cone shaped. There's 4 of them here, and they provide like great evergreen coverage in the winter when these hydrangeas are not in season. And they'll keep growing taller and just create great contrast with the winter gem boxwoods. So in addition to the boxwoods, we got the star. And these are little lime hydrangeas. And so little lime hydrangeas work perfectly in full sun, and that's what they get here. And these are loving it. I mean, little lime hydrangeas are supposed to get 3 to 5 feet tall. I'm 5'5", and like, this is way taller than me. So these guys are loving their spot. They've only been here for like 2.5 years, but they look amazing, and they're only gonna grow fuller and more lusher. They start with like a chartreusey green color, and then they turn white. And so because mine are in full sun, they turn white pretty quickly. In the fall, they take on like a pink tinge. The stems are pretty strong, and I'm hoping that they don't do any flopping this year, that we don't get any like really crazy rainstorms, because sometimes if the rain is like too heavy consistently for a long time, they can do a little bit of flopping. Not really bad, like, you know, like a mophead hydrangea. These are panicle hydrangeas, so really strong, and they love full sun, which is what I've got. So they're doing well. So on the other side of this garden bed, these winter gem boxwoods hedge in some knockout roses. And so in spring, when these knockout roses bloom, it is like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Right now it's July, so this is not their peak season, and they're looking a little tattered. I'm trying to balance whether or not that amazing spring bloom is worth having these here, because I'm considering taking them out for something that looks better all season long. Let me know if you think there's something that would work really well here, that would play well with the hydrangeas and well with the boxwoods. I do love that roses bloom really early, so really early in the season. They have beautiful color, and these roses, when they first bloom, when they first leaf out, you get a really beautiful red colored foliage, and it contrasts really well with the boxwoods, and I love that in the spring. And so I'm mindful that whatever I put here, I want to make sure it has some of the benefits of these roses, but also kind of takes away from some of the drawbacks. So let's go to the back garden. So this is the back garden. It also has hedging, but this time the hedging is arborvitae. And so these emerald green arborvitae, they provide lots of privacy and also the feeling that you're inside of a garden room. They make it really cozy, wall in the space and create like a contained space, a lush feel. And so we've got arborvitae that go all the way up and on top of the retaining wall. In addition, up on top of the retaining wall, we've got some annuals, and so there are some Sweet Caroline sweet potato vines, ornamental sweet potato vines, and they are so beautiful, lush. Right now they're just about to spill over the retaining wall, which creates like this Disney magical feel. We had a friend that was in our garden once. He said anytime he comes here, he feels like he's in a Disney movie. And I was like, that's what I'm going for. So again, the other annual that's up on the retaining wall are Supertunias, Supertunia vistas. And they just create a really great contrast with the potato vine. And they also come out and like fall down over the wall and create a really beautiful effect. This is the star of this garden, this beautiful crepe myrtle. So this is actually the only thing in this garden that I did not plant myself. These two hands planted everything in this space. Everything. But this crepe myrtle. So while I did not plant this crepe myrtle, I did kind of train this crepe myrtle. So the person who planted it just put it in the ground and let stems, a lot of different stems grow. I pruned it down to 5 stems, and as you can see, these are stems with beautiful exfoliating bark. It just creates a really pretty mottled look. Y'all, so like I said, I live in the city, so my neighbors are having some yard work done. We're trying to roll with it. This crepe myrtle, like I said, was planted by someone else but was trained by me. I basically just pruned it down to 5 stems and then took up the canopy so that you could see the beautiful multi-stem tree, see the exfoliating bark. Yeah. So right next to this crepe myrtle is my perennial bed. And so this garden bed is full of lots of perennials. As you can see, lots of pollinators in here throughout the day. They love this perfect profusion salvia. As you can see, it's all over it. There's a bumblebee down here on the violet profusion salvia. So pretty. I've also got some alliums. These are millennial alliums and also serendipity alliums that are coming into bloom. And they stretch all the way across the front of this perennial bed. Right back behind them are some Sarah Bernhardt peonies. We've got 3 of them. And they have this really beautiful, like blush white bloom. One of the first bloomers in my garden. And of course, peonies are like, they bloom for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You gotta stake them, you gotta watch out for rain, but it's worth it because the flowers are really beautiful. Right back behind the peonies, we've got just a drift of Bobo hydrangea. So these hydrangeas are pretty new to my garden. They've only been in the ground for 1 full season, but they are coming in bloom, beautiful white blooms that look very similar to the little limes, but cover the whole bush, and the whole plant is a lot more compact. So in the back of this perennial bed, we've got some beautiful yellow yarrow. It's still got a little bit of bloom left in it, and it is bordered by denim and lace Russian sage. This plant is in the garden for my first time this year. As you can see, bumblebees are loving it. Beautiful purple blooms and a really wispy look. And that's right next to a dwarf Burford holly. And so this is an evergreen holly. It has the most beautiful, beautiful red berries in the winter time. This is my winter interest. I just love to come back here and see those red berries. It also attracts birds during the winter who love to eat the berries. And it creates a nice little drift in the back, just undulating with the yarrow, the denim and lace Russian sage, and the holly. So the last part of my garden is the edible garden, and this is brand new this year. I've never done vegetables before, I've never done herbs, but it's been working well. I went ahead and got a planter from Gardener's Supply, and this was just for ease. Like, most of my garden is on a hill, and so doing vegetables on a hill and getting in there is kind of a lot. And I really like to just have plants that are ornamental and really pretty to look at, but I also wanted, something productive. And so this vegetable garden is a Nigerian stew garden because I'm Nigerian and I need ingredients to make stew. So it has tomatoes, it has bell peppers, red bell peppers that have yet to turn red yet. It also has habaneros because we need spice in our food, we need flavor in our food. And then just because it's fun and there's such a cool plant, I put carrots in the front. Yeah, so we'll take a closer look up at some of these tomatoes. They're in there. You see that red popping. I had to put a cover on these vegetables because these birds saw that the tomatoes were popping as well. There's also bell peppers. They're still green and they're still little, but they're growing. And then finally, the habaneros, which are also still green, but are looking really good, right? Like, I think they're looking really nice. And then the carrot tops. You can see those here. They're underneath the ground. So the last part of the edible garden are the herbs. And so we got some basil here. It's growing pretty well. It's been 95 all this week, so be kind to these little herbs. We got some Thai basil, which like keeps flowering. I keep picking off these flowers because I've heard that when your basil goes to flower, it affects the flavor, but it just keeps popping back up. If you got a tip, let me know. This basket's just got some annuals. Again, the Super Tunia Vistas and the Sweet Caroline sweet potato vine. And then we've got some strawberry plants, beautiful leaves, and even some blooms that'll turn into strawberries. This one's got some strawberries going. And then over here we've got some mint. It's seen better days, but it's putting out new leaves. I think there was something with the watering system. I've got drip to all these plants, and I noticed this morning that the drip to this one wasn't working. And then lastly, some parsley. You know, when you just want to grab something, cooking something, you just need some greens from the garden. Thank you guys so much for checking out my garden. This is like my real happy place. Like, honestly, it makes me so happy, and it makes me happy to share with you guys. So thank you for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.